Okay, next problem. We have a couple of polynomials. That's a keyword. If you want to learn about polynomials, you can type that number in at Khan Academy and it will give you some problems. And there are some links in Canvas you can use. So we're going to simplify these two expressions and we're going to use the distributive property or distributive property. And what we're going to do is we've basically got two elements here, 5 times everything in here and -5 times everything in here. So even though this is actually a subtraction sign, we're going to consider it a negative sign for the purposes of distribution. And so we did a similar problem to this a moment ago. What we're going to do is distribute the 5 over all of the elements. And you can tell which is which because they're separated by the addition sign. So we're just going to multiply all of those by 5. And over here, we're going to multiply all of these by -5. And then we're going to combine like terms. And we just have to be careful of the sign changes that take place. So 5 times 7x, we're working left to right, right? Because we have all the same signs. And one reason in PEMDAS, you're supposed to work inside parentheses first, but these are not like terms. They cannot be combined any further. So, and same on this side. If the units are not the same, you can't combine them. That's a rule of addition and subtraction. You can't add or subtract elements unless they have the same units. So here we have x squared, which is different from x. And here we have just a constant. There's no variable. So these are all in different groups, and this is as much as we can combine them, right? But we can distribute this 5 over these, and then we can remove the parentheses, and then we can combine all of these with all of these. So that's one way to get around that, working within the parentheses. When you can't combine the terms, you can't perform the operation in the parentheses, you can distribute the number over the elements. So let's take a look at that. We've got 5 times 7x squared. Well, 5 times 7 is 35, so we're going to end up with 35x squared. And then we've got 5 times positive 6x. That's going to give us positive 30x. And then 5 times 6, that's just 30, positive 30. And then on the other side, we have a -5 times 2x squared. Well, that's -10x squared. -5 times 7x, that's -35x. And then -5 times positive 4, that's -20. So we have simplified, okay, my technical difficulties again. Oh, shoot. All right, we'll see if we can get connected. Okay, it says it's working, but it's not. There it is. Okay, so what I wrote, I distributed the 5 over all of these elements, and I distributed the -5 over the elements on this side. And so this is what I ended up with. 35x squared plus 30x plus 30, and then -10x squared, -35x, and -20. And what we're going to do now is combine like terms. And that just means they have to have the same units. So we can put x squared with x squared. And we can also put whatever the x one is. Let's get this x with x. And then numbers, of course, you guys have been combining for years. So we can combine numbers with numbers. Okay. So first one, we're going to combine 35x squared with -10x squared. So that basically works out to be 35x squared minus 10x squared. And it's really handy to just think of that x squared as a unit. You've got 35 dogs and you're taking away 10 dogs. What do you got left? 25. 25 what? 25 dogs. So 35x squared minus 10x squared. You've got 35x squareds, and you're taking away 10 of those. You're going to end up with 25x squareds. right? So 25x squared is the answer there. And the second element, positive 30x, let me just rewrite this. We've got plus 30x minus 35x, and then let's back up. I should try to write this in the same order. Here it is. Positive 30x plus 30. And then we used up this 10x squared. That's done. Then we have negative 35x minus 20. Okay. So next in line, we're just working right to left. We're going to combine the 30x with the negative 35x. So we have 30x minus negative 35x. So the signs are different. So we're going to take the difference between the two numbers. So the difference between 35 and 30 is 5. And 35 has a bigger absolute value, so our answer will be negative 5. So we've got 25x squared minus 5x, then plus 30 minus 20. Okay, so we just have one more step. And we're going to add these two together, or combine them. So 30 minus 20. And you can do the same thing. The rule I just used, we are combining numbers with different signs. So take the difference. The difference between 30 and 20 is 10. And 30 has the bigger absolute value. So positive 30, positive 10, right? So you can use that same rule. So we have 25x squared minus 5x plus 10. So it's a lot of little rules. Just try to follow each one. Remember PEMDAS. And if you need to review polynomials, I know that word it can be off-putting, but just think of this as these are the units for each number. And you can only combine, you can only add or subtract numbers that have the same units. And that's not true for multiplication or division, but it is for addition. So we distribute this number over all these elements, but we can't add them together. And even after we distribute the number 5 over the elements, we can't add them together. We can only combine like terms. So like terms is another keyword. Like terms. And if you search for that at Khan Academy, you can get some problems or read up about it, watch a video. And of course, many of the videos at Khan are available in different languages. So if you need help in another language, Khan's a great place to go for that. All right, give these a try.